our attendees leave here today with in their heads as what they need to do to run their business successfully and without running into problems with security if their entities are involved with devices or apps that run on devices in the Internet of Things. Jerry Ellman, we'll start with you.
Okay, if you could move to slide 28, I'd appreciate it. What I suggest is to take a look at the areas such as requirements for engineering for digital health. There are a number of engineering proposals to design the new products with security in mind and to take this into account as new products and new services are going to be rolled out. Secondly, one way of implementing encryption, as shown on, please move to slide 29, there are techniques such as format preserving encryption, so that as the data is manipulated within the Internet of Things or saved, you can still find the data within a particular record field or format and yet still have it encrypted. I suggest that applying end-to-end encryption is essential. Thanks.
Tim Pastor, your turn.
Sure. I had a slide on this as well, but you need not turn to it. I'll just summarize it very briefly. It's entitled Best Practices for Your Company. And the major headings on it were as follows. Number one, know your data, meaning know what kind of data you collect, what you use, what you manage, how you preserve it, and where it's stored. Number two, create good policies and stick to those policies. Again, just the existence of a policy can provide you with some layer of protection in the event that there's a breach, and it's alleged that you had no policy. Well, at least you had a policy, and if it's a solid policy and you stick to it, my hope is that that will mitigate the liabilities for the company. Number three, create lines of oversight and accountability. That means make cybersecurity defense not an IT issue, but a corporate governance issue. Number three, exercise. Do mock drills. Have your employees prepare for what they will do in the event of a hack or a breach or other type of unauthorized access of your systems or your devices. And number four, again, self-promotional, is hire capable counsel well ahead of any data breach, well ahead of any issues, so that they can put together a risk mitigation plan for you.
Amen.
Mark Milhouse, your turn.
Thank you. I agree with Tim and Jerry, especially on what Tim said with know the data that you're working with. I think number two for me would be know your systems. I think that's incredibly important. Whatever it is that you're working with, if it's an IoT device all the way up to back-end or cloud services, it's important to know how all of that works. As somebody who's involved with the hacker community, I will say that one of the hacker's best friends is finding a convoluted system, because then you know that whoever it is that's defending that is going to have a real tough time doing it. And then the third and final one for me, it's a simple question. I think this is the most important part. Ask yourself, does it need to be connected to the Internet? There's a lot of stuff out there. Vehicles, airplanes are a great example of that. Navigation systems might not necessarily need to be connected to the Internet. In addition to that, a lot of healthcare equipment that I've seen. I was a couple months ago, I was connected to an intravenous device that I was pretty sure was connected to the Wi-Fi, and when I asked the medical staff at the hospital if it was part of the network, they had no idea what the answer to that question was. And that, for me, was really scary, because I knew what could happen if somebody were to be able to get access to it. And so I think it's really important, just before you decide that you're going to connect something, transmit information, just to ask, is it really necessary that this device, even if it was intended to be connected to the network, can it operate without that and still fulfill its purpose?